If you can insert something into a slot, you can install an M.2 drive. It's that easy. There's two main types of M.2 SSDs out there, those that are based on the SATA interface and those that support PCI-Express based NVMe. NVMe takes advantage of the super fast PCI-Express bus and therefore can reach much higher speeds than anything based on SATA technology. For most people, like gamers and regular everyday PC users, SATA drives are sufficiently fast. But if you're a high performance user, a video editor, or you just want the absolute fastest file transfer speeds that you can get, then NVMe is probably the better choice. Once you have your M.2 drive picked out, you're gonna have to take a look at your motherboard to identify the right connector. This is important because not all connectors are the same. Some only support one interface or the other, and some have data pipelines that are directly connected to the CPU, while others get routed to the motherboard chipset, which can actually result in bottlenecks in some cases. Since there's so many different motherboards out there with all different layouts and configurations, the best way to go about this is to check your manual and verify which connector you should be using. This board here has two slots. One of them's covered with a metal heatsink, and that's the one that I'm gonna use. There's two Phillips head screws on here. I'm just gonna take these out, and that's gonna let me remove the heatsink and then give me access to the connector below so that I can get my drive installed. This board came with a quick mount post that's basically just a toolless mounting system with a little clip that holds the drive down instead of a screw. I'll install the drive this way and then swap it out for a standard post and show you how that works too. So here's our drive. It's a 2280 type, which means it's 22 millimeters wide by 80 millimeters long. This is the most common type, and motherboards usually come set up for this by default. But if you have a different size drive, all you gotta do is move the mounting pin to the corresponding hole on the board. All we have to do is take the drive and insert the keyed end into the connector at a 30-degree angle. You might have to wiggle it back and forth a little bit to get it to slide in, and that's totally fine. And also, it's totally normal for it to be sticking up like this. It's actually the screw, or in this case the locking pin, that holds it down against the motherboard. Now I can just press the drive down and rotate that little clip over the back end to hold it in place. For those of you that don't have a toolless setup, I'll replace that pin with a standard screw post and then reinstall the drive so you can see how that works. So the only difference with this is you have to install a little screw onto the post to hold the drive down. Both installation methods are the same. One just takes an extra few seconds to manually put a screw in. Now we can take that heatsink that we removed from the motherboard, and this is very important. Make sure you remove the plastic backing to expose the thermal pad before you install it onto your drive. You want that thermal pad making direct contact with the top of your SSD. Now with the plastic off, we'll put the heatsink back on top there, reinstall the two screws, and we're done. I told you at the beginning of the video this was gonna be easy. There's no cables or drive cages to worry about with M.2. It's just so simple and easy and keeps your build looking nice and neat and clean. Now, if you just installed a brand new drive that's never been used in a system before, you're gonna need to initialize and format it in Windows. I recently showed how to do this in detail in my how to install a hard drive video. So rather than redo that entire process, I'll include that footage for you here right now so that you can follow along if you need to get your drive set up. So here we are in Windows, and this is Windows 11 that I'm running, but if you're on Windows 10, the process is exactly the same. So all you have to do is come over to the little search icon here and type in disk management. And right here, this says create and format hard disk partition. We're just gonna click on that. So that opens up this window, and what this is showing you is all the different drives and partitions that are installed in your system. And anything that shows up as unallocated with a black stripe at the top basically is your new drive. So that's what you just installed, and it's not usable yet until you initialize it and create a new volume. So that's what we're gonna do right now. All we have to do is right click on that unallocated space and click New Simple Volume. So that opens up a wizard, and we're just gonna click through and follow the steps to get our drive set up. So we'll click next. Now chances are you wanna take advantage of all the space available on your drive and not partition separate pieces of it. So what you're gonna do here is make sure that the simple volume size in megabytes matches the maximum disk space available in megabytes. And by default, it should just show up like that. So all you have to really do here is click next. This lets you assign a drive letter. So if you don't want the default, whatever pops up in there, you can pick whatever you want. I'll just call it Z for now. Now we need to confirm the settings that we're going to use to actually format the drive. So file system NTFS, that's fine. Allocation unit size, you can leave that default. Volume label, you can actually give the drive a name right now if you want to do that. So if you're going to use this just to install like your Steam library or something, maybe you just want to call it games or something like that. Quick format is perfectly fine, so we'll leave that checked. And then we'll click next. Now this is just going to show you all the settings that you selected, so you can kind of take a quick look at it if you want. And if you're happy with it, go ahead and click finish, and the computer is going to do the rest. And there we go, that's our Z drive. We gave it the name Games. So if we go over here to Windows Explorer, we should see that right there. So I have the full space available, 931 out of 931, and I can click on it now, drag and drop stuff in there, and install my games, programs, whatever I want to do, and I'm good to go. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and get subscribed so you don't miss any future uploads. And we'll see ya.